Okay, my friends, been studying chemistry, the human body, molecules, membranes, sickness, and we are a program, and Jesus was a programmer, and he could reset default programs, and that is the only way that Jesus could heal people the way he could. And I'm going to show you how he could do it. If he could reset into default program conditions instantly, that's the only way he could heal people. And let's talk about how that could happen. Okay, my friends, I am a materialist and I want answers to things, and I wanted to find out about the heat and the energy and light and the mud fossils and all that. And I did, and I had all the mud fossils tested and DNA tested, and I have giants. And then I started looking into the biblical text, and then we found all the giant things, and then I started getting into what did they write in the past. Now, I came to the fact that all of that stuff was true about the dragons and the giants and the giant fish and the dragon in Morocco. It's there's no question about this stuff now. None, zero. I have the CAT scans. I have the specimens. I have the DNA tests. Giant human beings, huge, and there's creatures on Earth that were the size that Enoch talked about, miles tall. So then I say, well, is Jesus real? Because that really it gets down to that. Because I brought it down to the fact that God controls this region. Now I don't know how much he controls, but there is a God that's in control of this region. Of that I am pretty sure, and his Son is Jesus Christ, and of that I am pretty sure also. Now there's a whole bunch of people that are against him. Now I can't believe. Well, let me put it this way. It's very hard for me to think that one God could control the entire universe, of which we know is billions of galaxies, really. And here he is in this one solar system, and he's fighting against a whole batch of bad guys. Now, that would make it pretty hard for him to control an entire universe. However, I can't dispute that that's possible. But my point being is that what do I want to do when I'm going to go to the end of my life? I want to see if I can find Jesus Christ. Because here's the deal. I said to myself, how could Jesus Christ heal all these people? How could he do this? Because Tyson says, I healed them day after day after day. So I said, well, let me go and look up the text and stuff. So I go and I look up this, the Gospel of Nicodemus, and this is the Acts of Pontius Pilate. And he never wanted to crucify Jesus. Absolutely not. He says, there's nothing wrong with this guy. He's a righteous guy. And the Jews wanted him crucified because he was going against them. And he was being crucified for healing a bunch of people on the Sabbath. For healing them. And Pilate says, that sounds like he was a pretty good guy to me. Why would you want to kill him for that? And he said, well, because he's just a bad guy, and he's all really bad guy. Well, Pilate says, I find nothing wrong with this guy. And then they had a bunch of people come in and say, he healed me. He made me. I said to him, Jesus, give me my sight back. Boom, my sight came back. I said, Jesus, let me walk. Boom, I started walking. I said, Jesus, heal me of this and leprosy and all kinds of things. So I'm saying, yeah, well, Tyson was right. How could he possibly do this? Well, here's the key. I was in a lot of different things. And one of the things I was in was programming and software. And we are nothing more than a program, and we are software, no question about it. Your DNA and everybody else's DNA, there's 2% of the strand that makes up, like, you're the same as me. So, which means that your structural and your this and your that is built basically the same as me. And I believe it's ethnic groups have different DNA in that region, but it's still a structural component or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just obvious that something's going to be different in the way people are built based on their ethnicity. It's just the way it is. Well, the black skin and white skin. Perfect example. Now, still same people. Now, that's a program. That is a program. No question about it. And 2% of our DNA is used as The rest they said 98% junk DNA. Oh, it doesn't do anything. It has no use at all because it's all different. Well, guess what? It's not all different. It's where your programs are stored and where your experiences are stored, your reactions are stored, all of that. They are in what they call these CPG islands. And they methylate on and off and turn on and off to store and sequences. Now, apparently, in these same regions, I would like to do a little more research on it, because 60 Minutes showed a piece just last weekend that all these different regions in the brain lit up when you heard about disgust, when you felt sad, when you felt about death, when you felt about this and felt about that and this. Not only one region lit up, but a ton of regions lit up. Now, so you had one region literally that was the module. All right, it opens up and says, okay, what do we feel about this particular thing? Oh man, I feel sick to my stomach about it. Oh, I just feel I want to go away. I'd like to leave and go on a vacation. I'd like to go hug my wife, or whatever it is. Something is going to, all these different things are going to react at the same time according to this disgust of whatever it is, or this emotion of whatever it is. So they asked them to focus in on these different feelings, basically is what it was. And then they would draw a database of that. And I, like I said, I was in that realm, databases. I understand it extremely well, and I will explain it to you, and you will too, because it's extremely easy. Now, they wanted to have Jesus killed for healing people on the Sabbath. Now, how did he heal them? How could he possibly do that? Because he went up and said, "Pip, you're healed." And they said just like that, I was healed. Boom, boom, boom. I could see again. Boom, I could walk again. Boom, I was healed of this or that, whatever it was. Now, I say he knew the source code, and he had the source code built into him, and God was the source code programmer. Jesus was the programmer. He knew what CPG islands controlled what, and enzymes in your body are the codes, and they are extremely elegant molecules that are nothing more than programs. Absolutely nothing more than programs. And then healing is to reset defaults. So he comes up to the guy that can't see, he goes, "Pip, you're healed." What did he do? Inside of the body, somehow it turned an enzyme on to turn the code on to say, go reset the eyesight. Say, make it out-of-box reset. Just like you do with your program. Oh, the program's corrupted. Well, reset it. Do a reset. Dip, dip, done. Okay. Done, case closed. That's the only way I can think Jesus could have done this stuff, and because they started saying it, a ton of healing. All right, so as far as I'm concerned, Jesus was a programmer. God is the program source code, and the way it works is you have databases and so forth, and you have different program sections, and the different program sections control different functions, and in us. There's this, well, let me show you, hold on. All right, this is the vagus nerve. It comes from your brain, and it goes all the way down to every one of your organs, and then it runs down through your fascia to every bit of your body. It's your neurons, it drives your neural impulses, it senses for, because it's a two-way street. It's a vagus nerve going both ways, and here's the way it works in my world. Your brain obviously does all kinds of things, but one of the things it does is it stores memories, and it stores reactions, and it has basic programs built into it. All right? 2% of the DNA, which is all this coiled up stuff, is the same in everybody. So yours should be the same as mine. That means we're both healthy. Now, if the other 98% just is all different, so they always thought it was junk DNA, but it's obviously not, because identical twins, when they're first born, as they start to age, it is identical. So the CPG islands, which is these 98%, are now becoming, specialized dependent upon your experiences, my experiences. But if we're identical twins, it's identical for a short while. And then if you're put outside of my realm, yours changes immediately a lot more than mine, because now you're subject to all kinds of different influences that, you understand, it's a whole different environment, so you are environmentally being programmed. Basically, that's what it is. It's the programming section. Now, and it's also memory, 98% of your DNA. And 2% does everything else, makes your structure, does all that other stuff, 2%. Now, 98% gives you a lot of capability. And these islands, CPG islands, CG is the code, and it's methylated or unmethylated. That means it's turned on or it's turned off. Nothing more than an on-off sequence in a program. Nothing more. No difference whatsoever. So I've looked into this quite carefully. Now, what happens, it appears to me, is enzymes are in all of these organs and the pancreas and everywhere, and they are secreted by bacteria, literally, which is in your white blood cells. And I believe it's actually bacteria that's living in the white blood cells that are membrane-bound bacteria, and the membranes house the white blood cells, and they are where these factories are that create the enzymes. The enzymes get squirted out to fight off things, to break down chemistry so you digest, to break down molecules so that you can structurally build your body, to create serotonin and melatonin and all of the different neurochemistry so that you can walk and you don't, and you know, all of that stuff is smooth, homeostasis. Chemistry goes the correct way, the molecules are constructed the right way, the pHs are flowing the right way, the blood is transferring the right way, the gases are moving out the right way, the wastes are being dealt with the correct way. All of those things have to happen, and then you don't even know they're happening. You just eat and you go out and do whatever you do. That's what I did my whole life. It kind of worked for me, so I don't know what to say. But but once you get a bad gut, once something goes wrong in here, and this starts acting up, and you got gas and pains and all kinds of problems, it's because the bacteria that was in here is no longer able to deal with the toxins or whatever it needs to deal with, because the bacteria is gone. So another bacteria comes in and says, ooh, look at this. We got all kind of housing. We got this and we got that. Let's go eat some collagen. Let's go eat some of this guy's liver. Or let's go attack his lymph nodes. Or let's go do, and that's a cancer. It's a chronic condition. It's irritable bowel. It's all of those things. Now, if Jesus could program, he could come up and say, reset. All right? Do the program reset, do defaults, reset the defaults. That's the only way I can think of. Because it's all programs, 100%, no question whatsoever. It's programs, no question whatsoever. When you look at, well, let's just look at it real quick. All right, let's just look at enzymes and proteins. And our enzymes, proteins, our enzymes, viruses, yes to all of those things. Enzymes are chemistry sets. Now, if it's a virus, we think it's attacking us, it's a bad chemistry set. It attacks and destroys our tissues. If it's an enzyme that breaks down food and carrots and potatoes and peanuts in us, then it's a good enzyme. Same stuff. It's made by a bacteria. It's an extremely elegant as hell molecule. You see that? It's not just one little molecule. There's thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of different molecules in there, all wound up, and they squirt out in a big long string, and then they go, they all coil up like this, and they do it instantly. And this would take literally, they say, some hundreds and hundreds of years to do this if it wasn't for the bacteria. Now, there is literally thousands and thousands and thousands of different types of bacteria, and each one of them creates one of those enzymes. I just showed you all those coiled things. Now, they can be called on, and they instantly respond, as I will show you. All right, watch this now. This is, your textbooks are wrong. This is what cells actually look like. It's from Seeker. It goes back a year or so. Now, listen to the, oops, let me go back to the beginning. Now, this is Gokul, and they just realized this. So he's saying, here's what's happening inside of your white blood cells. Watch. And this is about bacteria.
Something that I will never forget. The hair on my hands just stood up. It's a microscopic universe within each cell.
This is an unprecedented view of the...
Let me just make a mention to you. Now, I talked about membranes. This is a membrane. This is a white blood cell, which was inside of a membrane. Inside of that cell is a zillion different microbes. And they're all different bacteria. And it will call on one of these bacteria, and it will go blip, just like that, and create that elegant looking molecule, squirt it out there to go do that job. If that bacteria is not there because it's been killed by antibiotics, or for some, because you get weak as you get older, your immune system goes bad, you've been treated for all kinds of things, you've taken antibiotics, you're all kinds of problems, and then you die because you can't respond. The bacteria that should be in here to create the stuff to attack the things that want to kill you are not here to protect you. That's why people are not able to fight this COVID thing. Now watch.
Cellular world.
There it is. That's the one, boom, just like that, making it. All of these colored little spots are also bacteria. They live inside this cell. This cell is a factory. This cell responds to invasions or digestion or whatever it does. But this is real time. Instantly this happens. And that molecule right there has literally thousands and thousands and thousands of specific attachments that are actually like, this has to be attached to that, then it has to go to one of these, and then two of those, and 6 of these, and one of that, and thousands and thousands in a row. It takes it, coils it all up in a coil, squirts it out. It goes out. It has an address on it called an antigen, and the antigen says, "Hey, I'm looking for a molecule with a zinc and a oxygen or whatever it is." And it says, "Oh, that's me over here." It's okay. Bick, it snaps to it, and then it says, "Here, I'm going to inject through your ion channels," which I will show you the membrane in a second, and I am going to inject this antibody into you, and then you go and take it from there. Make a whole batch of these, send them out, and go fix the guy, otherwise he's going to die. All right, somewhere in here I talk about the membrane and having these membrane-bound bacteria. Somewhere in these membranes there's bacteria in the white blood cells and so forth. But in a normal membrane you're going to have these protein channels. And what they do is they keep out everything except what has that correct antigen address. And then it opens up and the molecules can go in there, those very elegant little enzymes, and they go inside, and that's the chemistry that makes you healthy or sick. All right, so here it goes. That molecule is going to be made virtually instantly. This is all real time, and this is new photography where they're using all kinds of different spectrum to see what's going on, so it doesn't damage the tissues and the cells. It's all brand new. And the reason I saw this was because I was investigating the light part of it. Here goes.
This is an unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can actually see immune cells scooping up sugars in the ear of a zebrafish.
Look at that, scooping up this real time, and this is the immune cells, and they go, and all of those were that coiled thing. Now it's going to squirt it right out into the bloodstream. And what happens is the vagus nerve has said to do this. These things don't just lay around here and squirt them out all day long. Well, they might, some things, because some things are needed on a regular basis, but there's things that you don't squirt out all the time because you're not being invaded by COVID or streptococcus or candida or all of these different things that are in your body. HIV, all of that stuff. Basically everything that bad can be, that there is in you. And now if you don't keep it at bay, it will invade and attack you. Now, this COVID, there is new viruses, obviously. There's new forms of life or whatever, and apparently this is some new little life form, which is a bacteria that gets in your bloodstream, and if this guy isn't there to respond and do this and squirt it out, that thing starts to take up residence in your lungs, in your heart, and in your blood vessels primarily. And why does it do that, Roger? Well, it does that because there's collagen 1, 3, and 5 is a rubbery collagen, and it's whatever it is, there's some chemistry there that makes it do this, but it also must have some chemistry in there that is some tasty little molecule that some other little bacteria would like to come in and consume. Because that's what happens. Your lungs are doing this all day long. Your heart's going all day long. Your blood vessels are going because the same thing your heartbeat does. Now, these things start to break. They start to stop doing this. They go, and then you can't breathe. You just can't breathe. There's no more rubber left in it. Now, how it attacks it, I don't know. There's a lot of chemistry here that could easily be done, I believe. Something's going in there and changing the chemistry of that lung tissue. Absolutely guaranteed. What is changing, I don't know. Is there, I believe there's basically a bacteria missing that cannot create the enzyme, which is this very elegant molecule, to go and attack this COVID, which most people can do it. Most people can attack it and get it out of their body, no problem at all. But if you're not taking probiotics, this is the stuff I take, Primal Defense. It's I'm not getting any money from anybody, but it's got like 16 or 15 or whatever. It's got 13 different types of bacteria. And these bacterias do this kind of stuff. And they break down the food in your stomach and the digestion. And, you need products, first of all, in your body. And so you need bacteria. Everybody knows bacteria rot food and break it down. And it's exactly what it does in your body. That's why you fart and everything else, and you smell it and everything. It's breaking it down. It turns it into feces. Well, when it does that, something was an enzyme went over there to break it down. You throw a carrot on the ground, it's not going to break down in 24 hours. Not going to happen. If you put these catalysts in there, all of that stuff will break down very quickly. It will eat into them. Like they say, these things do more chemistry that quick than it can be done in 100 years by the natural process. It would happen. It would break down to the actual molecules. This goes out and it turns into molecules, and then they start to be absorbed by your body instantly. Virtually instantly. That's what a catalyst does. Absolutely amazing how fast these things do what they do, and how fast that thing was constructed. Real time. Real time. I know I know I get crazy, but I can't help myself. Watch this again. Don't forget, immune cell, membrane-bound bacteria in the immune cells. You get like 6 different types of immune cells. Some of them fight pathogens, some of them break down digestion, some of them make products for like collagens and so forth. Now watch, here goes. I'll just be quiet, maybe.
This is an unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can actually see immune cells scooping up sugars in the ear of a zebrafish in real time.
Focusing only on the crawling immune cells, we've noticed 2 classes of them. One seemed it was not hungry at all, but it was very active in terms of trying to figure out, what the environment is. There was another one that was kind of slouching around with a lot of food in its belly. We can actually conceptualize and visualize and analyze the contents of each of these cellular compartments in this crawling immune cell as it's kind of, scooping up its environment. I mean, that is a level of details no one's seen before.
We're living in an...
All right, now, so what does that mean to us? Here's what it means to me. If we could get in here, and at this level down here, understand what is the different types of bacteria. you know, are they all the same bacteria? Or I know they're not all the same, and I'm like virtually 100% certain of that. Even though they all look bluish, I don't think they're all the same bacteria. Or they might be, because this specific cell is only dedicated to making one specific product. I can't say one way or the other, but these cells might contain a whole batch of different bacteria living in the same cell together, and if it's called on, that one there goes and starts constructing. You see it's starting to make the cell? Think of, it's going to construct that elegant, see it's squirting that out, that, and then it all coils up into what they call a coiled coil. And then zip right out into the immune system. Now, this, I believe, is probably the vagus nerve invading, or maybe it's down here, pushing its way into the cell to literally communicate with it. Because something is telling these things to turn on, turn off, just lay back, nothing's happening, the guy's not being attacked, everything's cool. Just lay back, don't do anything. Oh, here's get boom, done. And it's that fast they can respond to an invasion. Now, if you have the stuff. Now, so what do you require? You require the things that are squirting out of there, which are molecules. Somehow it's harvesting them inside of this. So whatever molecules are squirting out of here, they had to exist in here somewhere. Or this thing can construct it. It can literally change the molecular nature of, or atomic nature of these particles. I think it's, the particles can be constructed by, and we can see this. There's a I forget what they call it, transferase or something. But anyway, you're making these molecules, done, out it goes, done, out it goes. If we knew what bacteria were in what kind of cells, and then we could find out if what people get sick and what bacteria is missing or what bacteria is too much, then we got a place to start with. This is unknown stuff right now, totally unknown, and it's not because of these pictures. They could easily find out the enzymes that are in everybody that's healthy and the enzymes that are missing in people that aren't healthy, and they are actually doing that, and nobody's putting it together. I looked up and virtually every disease there is, if you have anything whatsoever wrong with you, put it in and follow that by and microbiome or and gut disorder and gut issues, anything like that, and you will find 100% match. It'll say, oh, you got a problem with a certain bacteria that invaded you. No, the bacteria is got a problem, and that's why you've been invaded by something, or it doesn't have something to react with something. They got it backwards, absolutely 100% backwards.